Hey, this is Kevin with Imagination Hobbies. I figured I'd throw something up on the screen while I did my little preamble so you actually had something to look at. But I was going to go over the rest of the thumbnails that I had talked about. Um, I got several more. Looks like 20. Yeah, looks like I got 20 more. So we'll go through all these. I did this little spinner thing, and hopefully it looks good on here. This first thing is not a thumbnail. This is like a fossilized ammonite, some form of an ammonite. There's a lot of different species, and it's actually been replaced completely with pyrite naturally. So it is a pyrite crystal now, which is pretty crazy. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know how I'd work it into a video because I don't do really like fossils or anything like that. But I just figured I'd start off the video with that guy. But let's move on to the actual new thumbnails that I got. There are a variety of them. Some of them are improvements on ones I already had, and some of them are just all new. I guess we can start with just a quartz crystal. I guess it's not just a quartz crystal, but this piece, it's a really clear, really nice quartz crystal, and it's actually from Pakistan, which is pretty cool. I'm seeing my angles kind of off. Let me fix that. But yeah, this is actually a really nice quartz crystal from Pakistan. Water clear. It's cool because it's on like a form of matrix. I don't know if that's calcite or celestite or just more quartz. But I thought the structure of this quartz was really cool. How you have all those little divots in it. So crystallography wise, it was kind of interesting to me. And so I purchased this one. Really nice full-size thumbnail, really sharp, undamaged. So that piece is pretty cool. Next up is going to be a calcite. This is kind of an elongated calcite. This calcite's really cool just because I love the color of it. I love the fact it's like double terminated as well. And it does come out of Missouri from the Sweetwater mine. Try to scoot this over a little bit. But yeah, it's a pretty neat little calcite. It's a full-size thumbnail. It's a pretty long one. You have to display it at an angle, which I kind of like doing with these longer double terminated crystals. I have my Doptes similarly displayed it at a tilting angle like this. And so that's the calcite that I got. Next up's one that I always kind of wanted since I seen them come out. I don't think it was in my last video for thumbnails. But this is a tourmaline. More specifically, it's a rubellite tourmaline. It's got, you can tell there's a little bit of yellow in there a little bit, mainly like a hot pink color, and it has a feldspar crystal off to the side. So it's super cool that you have like the combination of like crystals right there with the contrast. And this is from a famous pocket from Morocco. I believe it's called the candy cane pocket. Is that right? Yeah, candy cane pocket. But super cool. All the pieces out of here were really exquisite, and just as far as the color and aesthetics and contrast, it's really high up there. I believe it is a broken crystal in the bottom, but I mean, it's just really cool. I like it. I was lucky to get one of those in a thumbnail size. Any bigger is quite expensive. Next up, let's go with something I recently got. This is a barite. This is a barite from the States. I always wanted a blue barite from here because I thought it was interesting that they were found in Colorado. And so I don't know if this is like not necessarily like a super duper high end barite from there. I just kind of wanted one from there, and it's very faintly blue, but it is blue. I thought they were pretty cool. It's an interesting shape. I'm going to show you another barite from Colorado that I thought was a topaz when I first saw it. Somebody corrected me saying it was a barite. But you have this white clear barite here. Really cool. shape to it. It does look like topaz to me, but apparently it's a barite, and that one's pretty glittery when you catch all the little like internal fractures and stuff. I might have caused one of those fractures. I honestly don't remember exactly how it looked before I washed it off. I was trying to get some hot glue off of it or something off of it. I can't remember. But I don't know. I might have shocked the crystal and caused one of those little fractures in there. But that could just be my poor memory of what it looked like before, though. It wasn't super expensive. I think I got this piece for like $30 or something like that. So like, I wasn't really too concerned. I just kind of wanted one because it was a cool, interesting barite from Colorado. And I threw it on one of my little stands, just because, I guess. Here is a piece that I would consider competitive. It is a copper crystal. It's a really cool copper crystal. Now the way it's angled, it's gonna be hard to like keep it in focus. But you can see it's almost skeletal. When it's like crystallized in like almost like a skeletal form, where it has like some hollow spots to it, which is really cool for a copper. It's from Australia. I believe it's Rockland's mine. I could be wrong. I have to look at the label, but this is an Australian copper, and it was really cool to get one of these in thumbnail size. I do have another one for sale, actually. It's probably even technically a little bit nicer than this. I know I paid more for it for sure, but I prefer this one just personally. But yeah, it's a really cool piece, and I'm happy to have like a little sculpturally aesthetic metal mineral. I guess we can jump to this. You might have seen this in a previous video. I did a video about when I trimmed this up. It was a much larger piece. Really fine, in my opinion, calcite from Hubei province in China. Very, I don't know, just the angles are awesome. Very like lustrous. It's kind of a bigger thumbnail. It's a full-size thumbnail, so it's hard to keep it in focus as it spins. But you can see just the luster off the faces as it spins, and how many faces there are. It's a very complex calcite crystal, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I trimmed that one up. It was about 2 to 3 times the size of that on the Matrix. I just wanted a cute little piece. So there's that one. That one is... Oh, it's not Hubei. It's Day County. I don't know. It might be the same place, actually. I'm not sure. I have to look. I have labels, separate something I want to mention in this video. I have separate labels for all these mineral specimens. So, like, always keep your labels. I just shorthand it so it fits on the little label that my label maker prints out, and I can fit it on these tiny bases that I have. It's got some dust on it. But as you can see, like, I don't have a lot of space to like put a location on those labels. So, you know, it is important to keep your original labels. Also, you can even make your own in addition to try to get more precise on what the actual locality is and where they come from. I do that often as well too. Some of them I get without labels, which makes it really hard, but then you got to do a lot of investigating. I believe that calcite I just showed you a second ago did not have a label, so I had to do some investigating into that one. But this is a bornonite. This is a pretty nice bornonite, especially from this front profile here where you can see the tag. It's got really decent luster for a bornonite. I think on the back side it does have a little bit of breakage or something like that, but it's a complex like cluster of like bornonite crystals, and I think it's pretty cool. I got it for a really good deal, and it is a full-size thumbnail. So I think I'm going to try to throw that in my display case for Tucson, my competitive case, and just to see how it does. I have a few that I need to strike from the case anyway. Their scores were pretty low, and I want to mix it up. I like showing off the minerals themselves anyway, just not because like I'm trying to brag, but like I just like the fact that someone else gets to see them. It's like, most collections, it just kind of sits in the person's house. This is a titanite. Or a sphene is another term for this mineral. Let's get this back just a little bit. This one is not quite a full thumbnail. It's about 2 to 2.1 centimeters. But I just liked the qualities it had. I mean, I like the color. I like the fact that it had a bit of clarity to it, almost like a bit of gemminess. And it had multiple pointed crystals. I think this one's double terminated as well. And it was kind of clean. A lot of them will have this like black sand look all over them. You can see that side crystal right there. The side of the crystal, it has like a V notch into it, which is super cool. So yeah, that was a titanite I picked up. It took me a while to get one. There's a lot of them that I saw, but this one's from Pakistan. I decided on this one. I don't know. I was just kind of tired of waiting around, and I actually did like that one. It's not bad at all. Here's a rare mineral. This one's called ludlamite. And this one is probably going to be hard to focus, but this one is from Brazil. And these ludlamites came out, they were from like an underwater area, kind of like a river or lake. And they had to pull them out from under the water. So that's kind of cool. And this one has a nice little like chain link hoppered little tower of like 3 or 4 crystals growing on top of each other up towards the top, which I thought was really cool and what I found unique about it. Are there like bigger ones? Definitely there's bigger crystals from this find. They're typically not ever over an inch though, because it is a rare mineral and they're typically small. But I thought this one was cool for like the aesthetics and like the crystal structures that were happening here. I am planning on getting another one day if I can, if it's affordable. I've been looking for like a big, nice 1-inch ludlamite, hopefully on matrix. Really hard to find. I have another piece that's a miniature size that I could trim down to maybe fit that category. But I think I'm better off selling it as it is because there's nothing really wrong with it and it's a good looking miniature. But anyway, that's ludlamite. Cool green mineral. You can tell I like green a lot because I have a lot of green minerals. Next up is going to be a calcite. This one is from Mexico. I displayed it in a certain way to make it look like it was icicles, like, you know, coming off of a tree branch or a rooftop or something like that. And I thought that was really cool. It is from the Ice Pocket in Santa Abuela, Mexico. It's a very particular part of the mine that produced calcites that were way clearer than the rest. I've talked about it before, but the other ones look more like a ragonite. This one is clearly, no pun intended, a calcite. That's a bit of hot glue off in the corner where it's attached. You know, had to use a lot of hot glue to try to get it to stand like that. This is not something I would compete with. It's just really cool and unique in my eyes that I wanted to kind of hang on to as a remembrance of that pocket. Next up is a olmeite, an olmeite. Now this was advertised as poldervaritite. Poldervaritite is super rare. Poldervaritite might not even exist. I mean, in the place that it does, it's nowhere near the size of this piece. But it was advertised as poldervaritite from Nchwaning Mine, Cape, South Africa. But I believe it to be olmeite after researching it a bit. A lot of these were mislabeled. I mean, there is a chance this is poldervaritite, but I'd have to have it like tested. I forget how it's called. It's like there's some tests they do with a color spectrum, and I can't remember what it's termed. I normally know what it's called, but yeah, that's a cool olmeite though. I'm gonna back this up a little bit, try to get this a little more centered and focused. But yeah, that's an olmeite. Now, there's olmeites that are a lot more orange, and there's ones that are a lot more pink. There's also ones that are a lot more gemmy. I purchased that one thinking it was a poldervaritite. In the conversation of me going to purchase it, we were like, nah, it's probably Olmeyite, but like, I'll buy it anyway just because it's interesting. It's an interesting story, and I like looked into it and stuff. Here is a cool pseudomorph. This is a copper now. Now it's a six-sided shaped crystal of copper, but originally it was a aragonite. It was a aragonite crystal. Typically aragonites are colorless, orange, even like lightly gray or purple. And it was completely replaced at some point, pseudomorphed into copper. And so this is a cool little copper thumbnail now. It's a little shinier than it seems to be on camera. But maybe that's just because I'm behind the light and stuff. But it's a pretty cool piece. I got it for very little money. It was like under $10, I think, or something like that. And I just couldn't pass up on it because it was the first time I saw them in person. And then I'd only ever seen them once before that. So it's kind of online. So it's kind of cool to get one of those in the category that I collect. Here's a new acquisition of a calcite. Calcite's a super diverse mineral. I mean, like, you've seen probably 2 or more three. This is for the 4th calcite you've seen out of this video. And all of them look very different. Different colors, different formations, all the same chemical makeup with slight variations. The only variations are cause a color variation. But they're all considered calcite. This one's a really nice one from, I believe, Brazil. Irai, I believe. Yeah, Irai, Brazil. Really sharp scalenohedron or scalenohedral crystals. And then it has, I believe, like a malachite or an orichalcite inclusion and within the matrix, which kind of causes that blue-green color to show through. And it's just sculptural. It's just spikes everywhere. I have a miniature of it that I've shown before, but the miniature doesn't have these blue cores like this. So I thought this was really cool. I got it for a steal from one of my friends who is a dealer. I think he gave me a deal. I think he gave me a deal on it, and just didn't, tell me. He was just being nice. But I got it for pretty cheap. So that one's pretty cool. I'll let that roll around, and then I'll snatch it up. I think the next one we're going to go over is a hemimorphite. I did mention in the last video, I showed a hemimorphite in my other thumbnail video, and I mentioned I was looking for one that just had a more of a fullness, more of a full-size thumbnail, big spray. This is a half, or a quarter wheel of hemimorphite. Same locality, Chihuahua, Mexico, but bigger crystals, and not on matrix, but I do like how this displays. It's just like this fan of white clear hemimorphite. You can see all the angles on the tips of the crystals. They kind of 45 degree ish angle into a point, and that's pretty cool. It's like a fan or feathered out. And so it was cool to snatch one of those up. Again, super cheap. Like, this is why I like collecting thumbnails, because a lot of people really undervalue these things, or maybe they're valuing them appropriately, and I'm overvaluing them. But I mean, it's just very affordable in comparison to like collecting any other size category. Here, well, let's do something with some color, some purple. I don't think we've shown purple yet. So this was mined by a friend who used to own this mine, the Fat Jack mine. I've dug there before with them, helped them just kind of set things up for groups of people to come collect. And so in turn, he let me dig there as well. And super cool guy. But now it's owned by somebody else. And it's in Crown King, Arizona. This is a really nice scepter. You can see as it spins around, you see a little stem way down at the bottom in the glue. It's hard to translate. I think I'm going to pick this one up and show you. But that's a scepter. You see the stem? And it's double terminated scepter head on there, which is cool. And this is an amethyst. Smoky amethyst. You can really see the smokiness with a white with a white background up against it. I wonder if you can, so you can kind of see the smokiness of the gray, black, and the purple, and there's a phantom in there too, which is pretty cool. So that is an amethyst from Arizona. I have collected similar material before. I haven't found anything this good there, but they have like kind of uncovered a lot of old area that they had not had access to back when I used to dig there. Here is a cool galena bar. It's got a pentacoid termination. I believe it's the shape of that. It all comes to like a point at the top instead of being like a long tabular rectangle. This is from Reynolds, Missouri Fletcher mine. Cool piece. I think it's got a little bit of dolomite on it. But you see when it spins around, right there is like the focal angle, and very symmetrical. Very neat piece. Well, kind of pricey, but like still not really that pricey. I probably overpaid for it, but you know, it is kind of a rare occurrence, so I was okay with that. Here's a very colorful, awesome piece I got from the same dealer friend I talked with you about with the calcite from Brazil. This is a rhodonite, and this rhodonite's from Ancash, Peru, and it's got quartz crystals like coming out of the center, and the rhodonite's like penetrating the quartz, and it's just a really cool combination of like that pink and cream like white color, and very aesthetic, very lustrous, pretty much undamaged. I mean, like there's definitely a quartz crystal that is broken on that one side, but other than that, it's pretty clean. Yeah, it's hard to see the break really, but I think there is some either broken or like just eroded quartz or something. But that's a pretty piece. I was lucky to scoop that up. He told me, like, because I mean he likes thumbnail minerals too, but he doesn't collect them. He's saying if he did collect them, he would have held on to that one because he really likes it. We seem to have the same taste. I wind up buying from him like most often than anyone else, just because he has kind of the same eye I do. Let's go with another quartz, just a smoky quartz, and this is actually an interesting habit known as beta quartz. This is a really killer piece from Dalmagorsk, Russia. Let me get that focus there, and this is beta quartz. It is on, oh man, what is that matrix called? I'm gonna forget. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Let me see if I have the tag. Oh, that's right, Ilvite. Okay, so that little metallic bed of little metal crystals it's resting on, that's Ilvite. And this piece is really cool because it's double terminated. It also is like a dumbbell because you have like two crystals growing right into the tips of each other, and it's almost like, you know, those weights that you pick up with one hand, like a dumbbell, or two hands. And I put it on a little stand with a little block behind it for presentation. It also helps orient it so it does fit into a 1-inch cube. All of these are made and oriented in a way to fit into a 1-inch cube. I make sure to do that with all my thumbnail minerals, even the ones that I don't necessarily compete with. Like, I'll try to really do that, unless it just has a better observability point that's like, you know, way better, and it doesn't fit into a 1-inch cube. If I'm not competing with it, then I'll orient it and cheat a little bit. But if I'm gonna compete, I really stick to that standard. So this is a really killer quartz from Dalmagorsk, smoky quartz, beta quartz. It doesn't seem like it's focusing very well. Let's try to get one more little spin. Make sure it stays focused. Really cool, like almost included with the Ilvite. Last on the list here, we have a brand new fluorite that just came out. I believe this is from Wuyi, China. If not, it is from Yiwu, China, which is like a mile or two away from there. New fluorite on fluorites coming out. Really aesthetic, very rich, saturated yellow. You can see all the kind of triangular shapes that make up this ball. And there is another fluorite, which is a cubic structure under it. You can see all the generations of color. You have blue, you have a clear, and then you have a purple before it gets to the yellow. And there might be even some quartz in between. And so I really liked this piece for the fact that you could see kind of all the generations of fluorite that occurred up into the point that the shape changed. And this is either octahedral or botryoidal, but it might actually just be a combination of like multiple octahedral crystals just start growing over each other and overlapping, and then just kind of formed this ball. Because there are other octahedral crystals from China that have like almost like a ball shape, want to form a ball shape to them, but they never complete. And this one kind of completed the circle. So anyway, that doesn't probably mean a lot to most of you, but I find it interesting. And if you start collecting after a while, you'll understand that this is kind of like an interesting, unique thing. One of my buddies sold me this at a really good deal, and I scooped that up. You'll see, if you check the last video I just posted about my small cabinet minerals, I actually purchased a larger one of these from him as well. That's even higher quality. But this is just a really killer thumbnail, and this is probably the best thumbnail that you can get, I would think, of this, because you have the accent of the purple there too. I wanted to orient it differently, but I couldn't. It wouldn't fit in a cube that way. So this right here, as it's spinning around, this is the front focal point right here. And that's what I went with. When you display it in a case, they're static. They're not spinning around. You can only really see it from like the front. You can kind of angle around a little bit, but you can really only see it from the front. So I displayed it like this. But those are my new acquisitions so far at the end of 2022, going into some of them into 2021. I mean 2023. January, 2023. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know when I was like looking online and stuff like that, I just really had a blast watching the mineral collection thumbnails from Blue Cat Productions. I just really enjoyed like watching the few videos they had. I think they only have like maybe 3 or 4, and I just rewatched them. I thought it was so cool because I'm a huge nerd. But I'm sure other people out there have had this problem where you cannot find this type of content on YouTube very easily. And I just felt obligated to start making these videos. And, you know, I don't want to post all the time. But if I save up enough minerals and I've acquired enough new things, I try to make a video of it, and I try to keep it categorized so it's more viewable and specific to like what you're looking for. But check out my last video. I did small cabinets. The one before that I did miniatures, and the one before that I did a huge thumbnail video that has way more, even more thumbnails than this, a lot more. And so check that one out too. It includes all the thumbnails that I displayed last year at the Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, and I took first place in the competition for the novice category. This year I'm going to be competing in the advanced category, moving up, and I believe I still should be able to do pretty well. Even if I put in the same case as last year and just changed a couple pieces, I might be able to do pretty well. You know, hopefully I get a first place ribbon. If not, that's cool too, because I'm not really into it to like try to win. I'm more into it to just make the display, have everybody, you know, look at it and enjoy it. I got a couple compliments a couple weeks ago. Someone just brought up to me like, hey, I saw your case in the Tucson show this year. It was my favorite case. Like, it was our favorite case. It was like a family of people. And I was just completely like unsolicited out of nowhere, and it's really cool to hear that because there's thousands of minerals in the Tucson show, and hundreds, maybe even thousands of cases of minerals in the Tucson show. And for someone to tell me that like I somehow was like their favorite case was really like blew me away. And I appreciate all you who gave me the same compliment, because a couple people did give me that compliment as well who may be watching this video. And they gave me that compliment prior, after the show ended a while back. But thank you all again. This is Kevin with Imagination Hobbies signing off. Sorry I blabber so much, but make sure that you are all doing some hobbies to keep yourself occupied, building your skills, keeping yourself entertained, and at the same time always learning and growing, and maybe even making a business or future out of what you love doing without ruining it for yourself. So again, have a great day. Catch you later.